Hello everyone, here we are at Circuit Magny-Cours, a fantastic track situated in the heart of France. And changing up today, we are in the Acura. I've had this one for some time since it came out, I've just never really run it. And in my testing for today's race, I found I actually quite liked how this car behaved around here, so I've decided to take it out and hopefully we can have some good success with it. And we're going to need to have a lot of that because we're already at the back of the pack here. We're going to get position on the start just because of that guy spinning out there, and it's a very tricky start here coming across that chicane onto the start finish line, so you do have a chance to get a position like we did there. Now we're into the race and we are behind car number 2 who's also driving the Acura, so I'm hoping I can just follow them through here if they have good pace. I'm being very careful around this long right hand corner. The cold tyres mean you have a lot of understeer coming through there, so you have to be very patient getting on the power. But once you're out of it, we're now onto this long straight that leads down to a very tight hairpin. A lot of incidents happen around here, so I'm just going to be very careful, looking for some cleared space. We already have cars coming into contact in front of us. I just want to try and worm my way through it all. We're finding ourselves free wide here and get a big squeeze on the exit. I've got to back out, just trying to avoid a more serious incident. I don't want to end my race this early into it. Just try and settle in, but I still have to be careful because coming through this section, if I go too far left over that curve there, then I can get a slowdown. We're going to get a good opportunity for a position here coming down the inside of that McLaren who's just taking the racing line, whereas I have a lot of confidence even on the cold tyres to go down that inside there, because I know that's going to be one of my main overtaking opportunities around this track, especially whilst we're all still so bunched up. Now this is the second twisty section with a nasty slowdown if you go too far over that left-hand curve, so I'm just taking it nice and easy as the cars in front of me seem to be struggling a bit. That Mercedes was quite wide. We have a McLaren that's off to the right-hand side there, having lost it on the exit of that sharp right turn. Another easy place to lose it on the cold tyres. But we're now coming down into the infamous last sector with that tight chicane we crossed at the start of the race. Got to really tiptoe the car through here because whilst we're on cold tyres, it's so easy to lose the back end if you take too much of the bump. But it is key to lap time, but that will come later as the tyres get up to temperature. As you can see at the moment on the top there, they're only at 1.6 bar and they need to be around 1.75 before they're up to temperature. So as you can see here, we're still getting quite a bit of understeer around this long right turn. But we are still right behind Federico in that slipstream, and we've got a good gap to the cars behind us, so we have room to play with here. It is going to be a bit more difficult to try and make up positions now. Everyone is more spread out, but it also means that we have a chance to get through the hairpin here quite safely. I'm just going to come onto the curb there, open it up so I can try to get the best possible exit. And Federico managed to get a better exit than us, but we are still just about with him as we're coming up to this next fast section. I'm going to feel a lot more confident coming into here, but I still have to be careful with it on the exit, watching the curb, just dancing on the edge of it, trying not to go too wide. And now we have the cars all really bunched up in front of us. Looks like that Ferrari and the Corvette are having a bit of a battle. So I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on what happens with those two whilst just trying to keep with Federico in front of us. Not a lot of opportunities for overtake, so I'm watching as they go through this twisty section. They're banging doors and Federico has a bit of a moment in front of us. I don't really go for the move, whereas I should have probably, looking back at this footage, but I'm just keeping with them. But that is now cost us time. As you can see, the cars behind us have really managed to catch up now. I'm just hoping that they're going to sort themselves out coming into this last sector.
It's now 28
Federico tries to go around the outside of that Mercedes, but doesn't really make it move, so we end up on his inside here. I don't fancy my chances going too wide through that chicane, so I back out of it and just trying to settle back in behind. But I'm now under pressure from Ed, who's having a good sniff into turn 1. Not much of an overtaking opportunity though, because it's really just that lift into the first corner. Now through the second right, I'm just really trailing the brakes. You can see Federico's gone very wide, nearly off the asphalt, but he's just about held onto it. Had to compromise my exit to avoid the cross with him, and that's now put me too far back really to try and make a move into the hairpin. I'm just not getting to get enough of the slipstream here. I'm going to show my nose still just to see if I can pressure him into a mistake. They don't really commit to it, but we find Ed is now really sending it down our inside. Try and get on the power a bit too aggressively there, so I have to use some rally driver skills to apply opposite lock and save the car. That was quite the move that I didn't expect from Ed there. He came a little bit far back. I think he misjudged his braking and just found his way to the inside. And then I got that little bit too much on the power, but it gave us a nice little moment of oversteer. Thankfully keeping it in one piece as we're coming through the twisty section once again. I'm hoping I can drop Ed through this long left corner here, just because I feel so confident. You can see he's going wide, and now I'm going wide too, following him around, but I know to gather the car back up and get back on the power to try and minimise the time loss. They are pulling away a little bit in front of me, but I managed to at least save some of that time. So by the end of the lap now, I managed to catch back up to the end of the pack. And I'm just going to try to plan how I'm going to get past Federico, because he has been slowing us up over the first part of this race. And now he's had a big moment coming out of the last turn. He's really almost lost it through that chicane. That's what I'm talking about. It's so easy to lose rear end there if you go over the bump a little bit too much. And now he's really slow through the first sector. He's either cooked his tyres or he's lost confidence in the car. Now he's really understeering. You can see he keeps tapping the brakes, just trying to get the nose back in. I got a bit too close, so I had to come off the power there, which meant I didn't have the momentum on the exit to get a good run in. However, I'm still close enough where if I'm a bit brave on the brakes here, I should be able to get him into the hairpin. I just have to be brave, and especially whilst he's not defending. He's braking late, and I'm not braking as late as I thought I would be, but we now get contact from the rear. Looks like there's been an incident, and we got caught up at the end of it, which has given us some wheel damage, unfortunately. Now we'll look back at what happened during that incident. Looking into us into the corner, you can see that Mustang just completely misses his braking point. And not only that, he then catapults that McLaren straight into the back of us. That was a nasty hit to our rear left quarter. We could have certainly taken a lot more damage there. Thankfully the Acura is strong, but we are now actually crabbing at the rear. I'm having to put in a little bit more steering just to try and keep the car on the straight. I don't know how that has affected the rear grip, so we're going to have to see over the course of the rest of this lap. At least for now, we are still going. That was a nasty incident, and that could have certainly been a lot worse for us. So I have to be thankful, because I've had a few races already end early this week because of damage like that. Now back to the plan, we are still going to try and push forward and evaluate what the car's feeling like as we go along the race, which is certainly not over yet, so we're going to get a freebie from that Mercedes that's off to the left-hand side. Looks like they got tangled up with that Corvette in front of us whilst I was blathering on, so we'll have a look back. That Corvette makes a very daring and overly aggressive move into that sharp right turn. That's something you have to be careful with around this track. There is a lot of places where aggressive drivers like that can just try and send it on you. Now back to the live action, we are still right behind Federico, evaluating the car, and they're going to have another big moment coming out of the last chicane there. We're going to seize the opportunity, but look in the rearview mirror. They nearly come into contact with that Mercedes we saw come off earlier. This was a very close call there. Federico was still really trying to gather the car back up and slingshot it across the track. See just how close they came to touching. There was actually a little bit of netcode, which is where you can see the sparks coming from. But we've now been released to start chasing down that Corvette we saw at the incident earlier. And looks like we're going to get some help because they're having a big wiggle coming through the long right-hand corner. I'm being careful myself just because the car does feel a little loose at the rear, but we managed to get a great exit here. We're now alongside them. We're actually starting to overtake, so we still have enough momentum forward with us.
Clear left.
I'm going to stay to the inside as they look in behind us. They're potentially trying to get the position back straight away. All I have to do is just try and make sure I get my braking marker, get the rotation in the car, and then get on the power. The Corvette's gone very deep there, trying to take around the outside, which is a very difficult move to make at the best of times. Things settle down, so we'll skip forward quite a few laps until we're here on lap 8. We're coming through the twisty section. I'm going to make a bit of a mistake, and that's the slowdown I've been talking about this entire time. It's a second. I'm going that little bit too far over that left-hand curbing like you saw me do there. What that means is that I've got to be careful for this last sector. I need to sort of try and stay off the racing line and try and bleed it off nice and slowly, which is also a shame because I had been catching up to the cars in front of us. You can see they're battling. But I'm also now noticing the time is going up at this stage as we're coming through the last chicane, so I'm actually going to pull off the racing line and come off the power just to see if I can get rid of it just before we get into turn 1. Now the Corvette is right behind us, but once again it's not really an overtaking opportunity because I can just cover that inside line. I didn't really want to try and serve it in front of him, but that's just how it's worked out, and now they may try to attack us for it and get past us into the hairpin, so I need to get a good exit. It's really nice now through that long right-hand corner, just getting on the power, but I now have no slipstream to the cars in front of us, so I am sort of at risk. I don't want to waste any more time, so I'm not going to defend into the hairpin just because I feel confident enough to try and make it right and gain more time back. And indeed the Corvette has not gone for the move at this time, so thankfully we're still both trying to catch up to the cars in front of us and try and get some more positions before the end of the race. Now coming through here, I've got to keep pushing, but I'm still mindful that I don't want to get another slowdown. You've now seen just how much time it can cost you. So I'm just trying to focus on being as precise as possible. Whilst the cars in front of us are again fighting, and looks like that Corvette had a big moment on the exit, and we're going to draw alongside them with just enough momentum. They do try to squeeze me here. I want to try and get the position whilst it's there, because I know I can send it down that inside, and I just need to hold on and not get a bad exit. Now I'm going to defend into the sharp right corner just to try and cement the position. Corvette does try to go for the switchback, but the Acura is still very good on getting on the power out of there, so I'm able to hold the position. But again, into the last sector, I need to go semi-defensive here, because he can still try and send it down the inside. Instead, he's going to go for the outside, so now I just need to try and make sure I get on the power, carry the speed, and we're just able to hold on to the position. And the Corvette behind us actually gets a slowdown. If you take too much of that left-hand curb on the last part there, you easily get the slowdown. It's one of the worst ones around this track. I'm just going to watch in the rearview mirror to see how he's going to serve that, because he's also going to be slowing down the second Corvette who was originally behind us. That was a fantastic little battle, and that's put us up to P8. You can see coming through the last chicane here, that Corvette was just trying to follow us through, but he cuts a little bit too much of that left-hand curb, and that's all it takes to get that slowdown there. Coming back onto the end of the lap, I managed to claw some time to that Mercedes in front of us, just trying to see if I can not lose him and lose contact with the cars that are in front of him as well. But he has now made the same mistake as that Corvette. He's taken too much of that inside curb, and he's got the slowdown in front of us. And like I said, this is a very difficult one to get rid of on the first part of this track, so I'm going to try and keep an eye on him and really push now to see if I can catch up to him. This will be a great opportunity to get another position up on us. Coming around the right hand corner, getting that good exit. You can see we're now 7 tenths behind him, so we're going to get a little bit of that slipstream, and we're going to be watching to see, because he's going to be panicking at this stage. He's still carrying that slowdown. He has to serve it, otherwise he's going to get a black flag, and there it is. He's going to start braking. So I'm just going to go down the inside at this stage. He has cleared his slowdown, so he is now battling me for the position. I've managed to make it though on the apex and get a great exit using that drive of the Acura. He's still tucked in right behind me now, so I have to be careful coming through here, and I need to keep it nice and tidy whilst maximising my momentum, really pushing the limit there. You can see my 2 tyres were probably on the edge of that curbing, which would have given me the slowdown, but now I've got to jump onto the brakes and balance the Acura around that left hand corner. It's certainly one of my favourites on this track, just because you're really balancing the car on the brakes, and then you have to focus on getting that great exit. And that has worked out for us, because we managed to draw a bit of a gap to that Mercedes behind us, and we're still just not that far behind the cars that are battling in front. You can see they're really going at each other, so we might have a chance of getting yet some more positions, but we are running out of time here, because we are coming up to the end of lap 11, and this is only really a 13 lap race, so we'll have 2 more laps now to try and get another position. But we are up to P7. This has certainly been a good result so far. It might still improve if I can keep tidy through the last part of this race, but I'm going to make a big mistake coming through the chicane, taking too much of the curb whilst I was understeering, and that's really compromised me on the run into turn 1. Mercedes is going to seize the opportunity, and I'm just going to let him take it for now, because I just want to gather myself back up. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for us to battle, and I'm quite happy to do so for P7. Mercedes is certainly making the mistake there, because he's gone wide through the long right, and I'm able to just tuck in right behind him on the run down to the hairpin. I'm going to just use the slipstream at this point, because I might be able to force him into mistakes. I can see he's going defensive, so I'm going to look to the outside, and he brakes a bit early, whereas I can go a bit later on the brakes and just try and carry the speed. I'm actually able to almost stay alongside him the entire way, but I do back out of it again, because this is a section where you really can't go too wide, and I know I'm coming up to my favourite corner on the track, so I just want to try and be as close as possible as we come out of the exit of that left hand corner, and I can just send it down the inside, balancing the Acura on the brakes, making sure I get onto the curbing here and I can focus on a good exit. And the Mercedes seems to have backed off his brakes to try and carry more speed, but that's a big mistake to make there, because you just end up understeering all the way. Now he's under pressure from the Corvette that we saw earlier in the race, who's chasing him down there for P8. All I have to do at this stage is just hold on to everything by not making any more mistakes like I did, as the Corvette goes very wide there. And we have another car that's gone off to our right side. That Mercedes cooked it on the exit of that sharp right, so we're now up to P6 as we enter onto the last lap of the race. All I have to do at this stage is keep the car nice and tidy whilst watching the battle behind me with one eye and the other eye pointed firmly at the fight in front, just in case we're able to get another freebie on this last lap. Coming into the long right hand corner, I start braking at the AstroTurf on the right hand side, trailing it in and then letting the car naturally rotate before getting on the power when we get to the second part of the AstroTurf. Trying not to go too wide there because you get an off track on that exit curbing. And now just minimize the track usage on this right hand side in the run down to the hairpin. My braking point is just before the 100 mark later in the race, just because I'm less heavy on the fuel and I'm able to just rotate the car on the curbing and then focus on getting on the power. The Acura's strength there is the power entry, like the Porsche, but I don't have to worry about my high-speed corners. Through this right-hand turn, it's a very brave one that you can really send the car through. And then on the brakes just before the end of the curbing on the right-hand side to get the car turned in and hug that left-hand side curb, which is what I found to be the fastest way through. And that Corvette is now closed right up behind the Mercedes. They've really got a chance at this last part of the lap to try and get their position here. I'm keeping an eye on them because they're having a nice little battle behind us. And it looks like I'm not really going to be able to get another position myself as I'm just trying to tidily bring the car home. There was a good chance there, and he tries for the switch back again on the exit of that sharp right corner, but he's just not there. But he's so close behind the Mercedes, they're going to have to defend into this last corner. And indeed, the Mercedes is holding the middle of the track. The Corvette does go to the outside, which really is just not going to work for him. So they're now single fire through the last chicane and across the line as we cross the line now in P6. A fantastic finish considering the damage we've been carrying for the most of this race, along with how far back we started with that messed up qualifying. So a positive points finish is really good in my books. With that, that is the end of today's race. I hope you have all enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did, as that really helps me on the channel. And I hope to see you all again next time.